In case you missed out on the major local and international news updates within the week, worry no more because we've got you covered. Join us on First Next News for a complete highlight of important stories from Nigeria and around the world. You can follow us on our YouTube channel at First Next News for full news reports. Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. Here are the top stories. These are: President Bola Tinubu reinstates Fubara as Rivers State Governor. Rivers Sole Administrator Ibas officially hands over to Fubara makes final broadcast. On the foreign scene, Obama says U.S. faces political crisis after killing of Charlie Kirk. A very good day to you and welcome to First Next News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Osoro. Now the news in details. President Bola Tinubu has announced the lifting of the emergency rule in Rivers State with immediate effect. Mr. Siminalayi Fubara returned as governor of Rivers State. In his full statement on the matter, he said, "I am happy to address you today on the state of emergency declaration in Rivers State. You recall that on 18th March 2025, I proclaimed the state of emergency in the state. In my proclamation address, I highlighted the reasons for the declaration. The summary of it for context is that there was a total paralysis of governance in Rivers State, which had led to the governor of Rivers State and the House of Assembly being unable to work together. Critical economic assets of the state, including oil pipelines, were being vandalized. The State House of Assembly was crisis-ridden, such that members of the House were divided into two groups. 4 members worked with the governor, while 27 members opposed the governor. The latter group supported the Speaker. As a result, the governor could not present any appropriation bill to the House to enable him to reserve funds to run Rivers State affairs. That serious constitutional impasse brought governance in the state to a standstill. Even the Supreme Court, in one of its judgments in a series of cases filed by the executive and the legislative arms of Rivers State against each other, held there was no government in Rivers State. My intervention and that of other well-meaning Nigerians to resolve the conflict provided abortive, as both sides stuck rigidly to their positions to the detriment of peace and development of the state. It therefore became painfully inevitable that to arrest the drift towards anarchy in Rivers State, I was obligated to invoke the powers conferred on me by Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution as amended to proclaim the state of emergency. The offices of the governor, deputy governor, and elected members of the State House of Assembly were suspended for 6 months in first instance. The 6 months expired today, September 17th, 2025. I thank the National Assembly, which, after critically evaluating the justification for the proclamation, took steps immediately, as required by the Constitution, to approve the declaration in the interest of peace and order in Rivers State. I also thank our traditional rulers and the good people of Rivers State for their support from the date of the declaration of the state of emergency until now. I'm not aware of there was a few voices of dissent against the proclamation, which led to their instituting over 40 cases in the courts in Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Yenagoa to validate the declaration. That is the way it should be in a democratic setting. Some cases are still pending in the courts as of today. But what needs to be said is that the part to declare a state of emergency is an inbuilt constitutional tool to address situations of actual or threatened breakdown of public order and public safety, which require extraordinary measures to return the state to peace, order, and security. Considered objectively, we had reached a situation of total breakdown of public order and public safety in Rivers State, as shown in judgment of the Supreme Court on the disputes between the executive and the legislative arm of Rivers State. It would have been a colossal failure on my part as president not to have made that proclamation. It therefore gives me great pleasure to declare that the emergency in Rivers State of Nigeria shall end with effect. The Governor, His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara, the Deputy Governor, Her Excellency Ngozi Mma Odu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly and the Speaker, Martins Amewule, will resume work in their offices from 18 September 2025. I take this opportunity to remind the governors in the House of Assembly and of all the states of our country to continue to appreciate that it is only in an atmosphere of peace, order, and good government that we can deliver the dividends of democracy to our people. I implore all of you to let the realization drive your actions at all times. You're still listening to News and Facts News Port Harcourt. In part 2, after the break, we'll bring to you more details still in Rivers State. Ibas officially hands over to Fubara, makes final broadcast. On the foreign news, Obama says U.S. faces political crisis after killing of Charlie Kirk. Please stay with us. Hello everyone, welcome to First Next News. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, you're listening to News on First Next News Port Harcourt. Many thanks for staying tuned. We now bring you the rest of the news. The sole administrator of Rivers State, Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, has officially handed over to the reinstated governor of the state, Sims Fubara. In its final statewide broadcast, Ibas urged the people of the state to support Fubara as he resumes his duties of leading the state. In his broadcast, Ibas said, "My dear citizens of Rivers State, it's with gratitude in my heart and humility in my spirit that I address you today for the final time as administrator of our beloved state. 6 months ago, Tinubu entrusted me with this solemn responsibility of steering Rivers State through an extraordinary moment in its history. Today, I can say with conviction that the grace of God and through our collective efforts, the mandate has been accomplished. Law and order has been restored, local government elections have been conducted and chairmen elected by the people now serving office. Statutory boards and commissions have been reconstituted and are performing their duties. The state budget has been passed by the National Assembly, providing a legitimate physical framework for governance. These are milestones of progress that belong to all of us, that reflect the resilience of the people determined never to let their state slip into paralysis. One of the enduring lessons of this season is that the exercise of power without restraint can cripple institutions, and rivalry without dialogue clearly endangers democracy. As I reflect on this assignment, I do so with deep appreciation. I have met outstanding men and women across these states, diligent in their duties and devoted to our state. I have been benefited from the wise guidance and counsel of statesmen who spoke truth at all times. Now, as I hand back the reins of leadership to Sim Fubara, I do so with confidence and respect, and I urge all Rivers people to support him wholeheartedly, because leadership and followership is a shared responsibility. No matter how competent and clear a vision may be, it can only come to fruition and thrive with active support of citizens. For me, this is the closing of another chapter in life devoted to service at sea, diplomacy, and now in governance. We now bring to you on the foreign news, former U.S. President Barack Obama has warned of a political crisis of the sort that we haven't seen before in the wake of the killing of Charlie Kirk. At an event in Pennsylvania on Tuesday, Obama said he did not know. Take it again, right? At an event in Pennsylvania on Tuesday, Obama said he did not know Kirk and disagreed with many of his views, but called the killing horrific and a tragedy. He criticized Donald Trump's remarks towards his political opponents and pointed to previous Republican presidents who who he said emphasized national unity in moments of high tension. In response, the White House called Obama the architect of modern political division. Recall that Keck 31 died on a single gunshot wound while speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem on 3rd September 2025. On Tuesday, Tyler Robinson, 22, was formally charged with Keck's murder, weapon offenses, and other charges. Prosecutors said they would seek the death penalty. Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray said Robinson had sent text messages which allegedly said he shot Kirk because he had enough of his hatred. Before Robinson was captured, top Trump allies pinned blame for the killing on left-wing activists and rhetoric from Democratic lawmakers and their supporters. That's all on the news this hour. We now bring you highlights of the top stories so far. President Bola Tinubu reinstates Fubara as Rivers State Governor. Rivers Sole Administrator Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, officially hands over to Fubara mixed final broadcast. On the foreign news, we brought you that Obama says U.S. faces political crisis after killing of Charlie Kirk. For more stories and updates on political trends, you can follow us on our YouTube channel and kindly subscribe at First Next News. Do remember, democracy is the only system that persists in asking the powers that be whether they are the powers that ought to be. I am Becky Usoro. From me and my entire team in Port Harcourt, many thanks for watching. Bye for now. Hello everyone, welcome to First Next News.